So I thought tonight it was just going to be Roy and I, because everybody's so burned out from so much Dharma. Well, so I should keep quiet. Let the rain speak. Hey, I want to have a question about like what we're doing. It's all like crystal clear.
I can try. It's a question about metta. I haven't been here on the Saturday that you taught metta, but sometimes when I practice metta in meditation, I feel that I'm doing something there. There is some kind of effort, mental effort, some kind of activity. Sometimes even pretty solid activity. Mostly when I'm trying to practice it on people that they are my enemies, like it's written. And it can give me some feeling of self, of someone doing it, someone who is using his imagination, that is speaking to himself, some sense of self. That's it.
Yeah. Right. Metta as a practice is a cultivation. It's a mental cultivation, right? And it really doesn't matter who's doing it. You know, it really doesn't matter. Like the fact that initially to start the practice and to cultivate it, we are calling upon a sense of self. Like, I should be doing this, I should be, okay, I want to practice metta, I'm going to practice metta, I'm going to choose who to practice it with, and this person I love, and this person, I don't know, and this person's really difficult. Like there's an I who's choosing, and an I who's cultivating, and then there's an I who's wishing those people to be happy, and whatever, right? Seems like it's self-motivated. That's okay. I mean, it's better than thinking about, what other type of mental cultivation is going on, generally? A lot of it is very self-centered. So if your self is involved in cultivating thoughts for others, well, that's a good use of self, isn't it? If you have to use the self for something, it might as well be for metta, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that's like walking metta when you're out and about. It's good, wherever you're going. It's good to use the mind in that way. Why not? But during meditation, that's where we let go of the sense of self doing it. So when metta is being cultivated in meditation, it's less actively pursuing objects, and it's more just a sense of acceptance and appreciation. And that's sort of a letting go of my judgments. So there's the active metta, and then there's a sort of, I wouldn't say passive, but there's a sort of accepting metta, right? They have a different quality to them. One is more active in the sense that, yes, you are summoning your sense of self. So use yourself, it's a tool. There's nothing wrong with yourself if you use it well. Okay? But when you start really strongly identifying with that sense of self, then the tool becomes the end. You know what I mean? The means becomes the end. You're mixing them up, right? Use those means well, right? You have a self, great. Use it, but don't confuse it. Now, with the sort of open accepting metta, that's in our meditation practice, where it's that sense of accept you for, as you are, starting with yourself. also accepting those thoughts of self. You know, not as wide, as open. It's actually the essence of mindfulness. Okay, metta and mindfulness are not really two different practices, right? We talk about them in different ways in order to identify different qualities, but we're identifying qualities of the same practice, the same reality, let's put it that way. Being present, open, and accepting. Being non-judgmental, non-critical, letting go of ego always in the way, and separating self from others. And that sense of, you know, kind of just being here. That's what mindfulness is. So mindfulness and metta are really the same thing. If you want to practice it in meditation, practice mindfulness. If you want to practice it outside, practice, you know, what's defined more as metta. Great. You know, you've got what to do.
I have a question. Practical question. Any advice when you are, what to do when you are very, very tired, like over tired?
Yeah. Go to sleep. No, I mean, honestly, it's not a joke. It's like, you sleep. If you're so tired that it just like becomes this struggle, like, oh, you know. I mean, you're not trying to do this sort of meditation marathon, right? I mean, you have to answer that need. You know.
When you're not sleeping, like you can't sleep. Just.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Like during the day or at night? I mean,
Evening,
during the day. Yeah. So you take downtime. You also take meditation. You may notice that when you do meditate, without it being like a strenuous, like, you know, energetic kind of focus, but more the sense of I'm going to rest in my moment, like letting the mind and body rest. Either it can be done lying down, if you feel like you need to lie down, or sitting. Generally, done well for 10 minutes or more, the mind will be more rested than if you were to sleep during that same period. So, what I do recommend is, yes, doing some very open, gentle meditation during times of real fatigue where it's not time to sleep or you can't sleep, right? I say that also for people who suffer from insomnia or, you know, really hard time falling asleep, right? Let your mind rest, you know, and let go of trying to fall asleep. Let go of sleep, right? But don't try to stay awake, you see? It's very much like the breath. You watch the breath, but you don't force the breath. You see, the breath is that great kind of middle way where you're aware of it and you're controlling and not controlling. You know, it's that real balance of like, there's no word we have for it, because if you're just letting it be, then who's breathing? But if you're really breathing, then you're like holding on. So in that sense of watching your mind and being aware, you're also letting go of needing to watch and needing to, you know, you can just, what does real tiredness feel like? You know, that can be your like experience. That can be your meditation. In the same way when someone's facing pain, yeah, pain's there, it's not going to go away, right? What's pain like? What is pain like? That now is going to be the awareness I hold, right? With pain it's sometimes more focused, so you can explore it more. But with fatigue or other states of mind, like anxiety or things like that, you don't need to pinpoint its location, because it's more open and perhaps even it's got a more past to it. So there's a sense of just like the mindfulness can be sort of like more like a ground, you know, it can be a bed. Okay, mindfulness can be like an open surface rather than a point. So let your mindfulness kind of spread out That's what I would say. And then rest in that experience. Meaning, meditate, meditate with fatigue. And see what your mind is like after that session. And do it like a session, okay? Now I'm going to take 10 minutes. Or half an hour, or whatever. So last night, I'll tell you what happened. My group in Jerusalem, if you've ever been there, it's a very secure location. It's blocked off. It's across the street from the Prime Minister's residence. So you have to pass through a guard post. They say, "Where are you going?" They're like, it's called Zangville, the place. And they're like, "Oh, okay." They just know, like, we're these crazy folks. One time I just showed him, I have this Buddha in my bag that I carry, and I just like opened the bag. And he was like, "I believe in God." And he said that to me, the guard. I was like, "I'm really happy for you." I wasn't going to get in. The last thing you want to do is argue with the Prime Minister's guard about God. So I knew something was happening because the streets were like super blocked off, and they have this huge black curtain. I don't know if you know this, but like it covers the whole street. Like it's like this magic curtain. And suddenly, like the street disappears. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, why a black curtain? I know there's a bad show going on, but so the curtain was there, and I know this is going to be weird. So we go in, and then we're sitting, and right when we start to sit, then the voices begin, and so there was some sort of demonstration or something going on, and they had a stage and everything, and then they had speakers, and it was loud, like full speakers, and speech after speech, right? Like really, really, people with very strong convictions. That's an understatement. And everybody was whistling and cheering and everything. And, and I think at some point, I don't know, because I was just like, sort of hearing the sound, and wasn't really, it's easier for me because it's not my native language, so I was able to just hear the sound and not the words. But I noticed that some people got too much and they actually got up and left. It was like they couldn't meditate with it. It was so challenging. Even the Prime Minister spoke at some point. And it was challenging. It was seriously challenging. Okay, it was challenging because it's so loud, and like just people shouting and screaming, and aggression. You could feel the emotion behind it, right? It was strong and it was aggressive, and it was really like, yeah. And I tried to lead the meditation a little bit, like notice the change, turn the light inward, okay? Because much of mindfulness is not only noticing what's happening on the outside, but noticing what's happening on the inside in relation. What type of relationships are we building to the rest of the world? Real time. So meditation is real-time observation of relationship building. Okay? Meaning, do you notice the aversion that's going on? The judgment, the criticism, or the attachment or the likes and dislikes. Do you notice that happening? Okay. That was really strong when it's in your face or in your ear, really, really strongly. Now that was just an exaggerated example of what's going on all the time. You know, it was so strong, some people just got up and left, honestly. Like, wow, you know? And I said afterwards, like, this was a golden opportunity to observe your mind, you know, to observe your mind. And even one person said, hey, this is a mirror, like that. This demonstration was a mirror. It was holding a mirror up. That black void, whatever the hell that is, I don't know. I read about it in the newspaper, but it still shocks me every time I see it. Like, it's so weird, like curtain, but it's actually a mirror. It's actually a mirror, a black mirror. So, I did notice very often the word oivenu was coming up, which really was, I found kind of like interesting.
Which one?
Oivenu. Yeah. Like that was like, if there was a mantra, that was like the repeated word. That was the word I noticed the most. I was like, wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe it was my paranoia. So, but that stood out, and it just reinforced to me, you know, how can we be mindful in a way that can maintain, you know, samadhi. Samadhi is calm presence, that we can maintain balance even when we're feeling unbalanced. When the mind is unbalanced, can we still have balanced awareness? Of course, we're talking about two different types of awareness, aren't we? The cognitive, judgmental, self-centered, categorizing, reflecting, commenting, commentary mind, okay? Which is thinking mind, basically, thinking mind, and aware mind, right? And so your thinking mind, you may say, like, this is totally not my point of view, I reject it fully, you know, even you can have emotional strong reactions, anger, hatred, whatever it is, okay, all that. And interestingly enough, people, like, one woman said, it was like a protest, all the people were from, you know, settlements, and they were protesting, I don't know, roads or something. And there was one older woman who said, you know, my uncle was killed on one of those roads during the War of Independence. Okay? So actually, I felt I was feeling empathy for these people. I was feeling empathy, right? And you know, everybody was so upset in the room, and then here's this woman who actually was feeling kind of sad. It brought up her uncle, like you know, there was sadness. And it was so important because that aspect of mindfulness is so essential. Mindfulness without connection is not mindfulness, it's selffulness. Okay? Mindfulness is that which connects with what you're aware of. You're aware that there is the cognitive mind making rejection, making judgment, making divisions, self and other, okay? Mindfulness sees that and appreciates that the world is bigger than what I think about it, right? And I'm just going to be aware of it, you know, aware of the anger there, of the anger here. It's not so different, okay? It's not so different. The pain there, the pain here, okay? It's not so different, right? Becoming aware of the whole field, you know, the whole reality, and seeing it, yes, as a mirror. What's going on there is going on here. You know, So mindfulness essentially is non-dual, right? It's not coming from the thinking self-mind. It's coming from just the aware mind. And the aware mind is not about self. It just is about being here. That we're sharing this reality, right? And they have the same mind. That's called Buddha nature and Mahayana, but they also are aware, okay? They have thoughts that I can disagree with, okay? They have a sense of self that may upset me and may cause friction and may make all sorts of decisions that I disagree with. But that's surface. Underneath that, what kind of mind do we share? You know, the aware mind, the mind that, yes, here's the metta practice. Everybody wants to be happy and nobody wants to suffer. On that reality, can I be aware? Can I connect on that reality? And that is the deeper mindfulness, is understanding reality on that level. All beings want to be happy, all beings want not to suffer. Right? Then on the surface level, they make all sorts of decisions based on their past karma of how to achieve that. And that may be conditioned by certain, misunderstandings. Okay? But our practice is to go under that. Or to go to something more essential. And to always ask the question, who are we anyway? Who am I to make all these divisions? Are my divisions helping the situation here? Are they helping the situation? That's also just another thought. Meditation is a time to give all the thoughts a rest, which does not mean stopping them. It just means no longer identifying so strongly with them. They can be. Okay? Just like those people who are shouting and screaming, they can be too. Now outside of meditation, I can have discussions and I can try to, work for change and I can work on myself and stuff. But those decisions will be better informed when I can rest in the silence and I can deeply listen to my reality and reality as a whole. Then your thoughts will have greater clarity and will not be as reactive. Because you'll notice all the reactivity going on in your mindful practice. So this is why we practice. It's not just to be passive, say, let it be. No. In meditation you are, in order to let go of reactivity that is coming and based or conditioned from your own, crap, karma, right? You let that go. You let your negative reactions go. And when you come out of meditation, what's it like? What's it like? Suzuki Roshi said about meditation, he said, use these two metaphors that were really interesting. One was about fire and one was about water. And the one about fire, he said, you should, when you do something, you should burn yourself completely. Like in a bonfire, you should leave no trace. That's interesting. You burn yourself completely and leave no trace, right? It's a very Eastern kind of idea, Just that big bonfire where they cremate the bodies. Just leave no trace. It means being really present without thinking about yourself and what you're getting out of your present. We tend to make a sort of step back from reality when we start to consider how am I benefiting from this experience, rather than just, how aware can I be of this? When it is reflected upon how it is good for me, right, how it relates to myself, what happens? That's the trace of self. I'm putting myself forward. Okay? Leave no trace. Now, he uses the metaphor as fire because this is not just passive, let it be again. Mindfulness is an active practice, but how active? Like the breath. It's that balance of staying, aware, but not forcing it. Okay? The effort of non-effort. How do we cultivate that? By practice. Okay? Knowing inside, being aware of your mind, and when you are stressed out and not doing this right, work harder. Or when you're not actually paying enough attention. Then you start to say, I've been dreaming too much. It's time to pay a bit more attention. Right? I've been lost in this dream of myself. Time to pay more attention to reality. Okay? That's one metaphor he uses of fire. Meaning, you got to put some energy into this. Like, put some energy into your practice. Honestly. The other metaphor he used was, he said, the true practice of meditation is to sit as you drink water when you're thirsty. Isn't that nice? Just when we thought that it was going to be like really too, harsh, is to sit like drinking water when you're thirsty. Isn't that helpful? You can drink after. Meaning, it's a natural response to a need. The need to find greater peace and wisdom and compassion in your life. You have that need. So drink. Sit and realize that need. The need that others need to be more accepted, and that you need to open your mind and to be less reactive and to find more peace. That's pretty natural, isn't it? And it actually should be a bit of a thirst. And that's why everybody is here, because we're thirsty for something, right? We want more peace and wisdom. We want more love and compassion, right? For ourselves and for others. We want to be more balanced. I mean, it's real simple. Everybody comes to Dharma because on some level you're thirsty. Okay? You're thirsty. So drink. The water is available. And you just sit and you'll find that it's there for you. So the other thing that's nice about that metaphor is that you drink water because you actually have a real need. Most people don't drink water because it's their beverage of choice. Okay? You don't go to a water bar. I mean, there are, I know, I've heard some water bars, but then it's like, there's water from Mongolia and it's like $10. So it's not, you drink water because you need to, not because you want to. If you want to, it's because you need to, actually. You're actually thirsty. And that's how we should sit meditation, because we accept that real fact, the real reality that we need to sit. We need to practice. Okay, we need to open our minds and to heal. This is so necessary, right? And so sit like you're drinking water. Like every time you say, like, wow, I was so thirsty for this, just let me drink this in. I'm doing this not because I want to. Look, if I based my life on my wants, what would I be doing right now? Well, I would be here, but what would I be doing right now? Like right now, I'm so like brainwashed that all I want to do is sit here. But if I were less convinced, then I don't know. Maybe a good movie and some really good Chinese food. I don't know, something like that. But hey, does it now? I mean, does it compare to meditation? No, that's all my wants. It's like, if you're thirsty, all you really want is what you need, and that's water. If you're desiring, then you start to think, carrot juice or beer. Like, you start to make these sort of equations based on your own personal desires. Okay? And it's no longer responding to thirst, but it starts to become want. Right? It's not need, it's want. Come back to your basic need. Basic need is to realize your true self, your Buddha nature, the wisdom, compassion that is the nature of your mind. That is what you need. To wake up from this dream of the selfishness that is propelling us through life, dangerously. Please drink some water.
But it sounds like you're saying that we're not supposed to want anything.
You should want what you need.
But that's not how it works.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of there's a lot of self-desire. Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's evil. I'm just saying it's conditioned. Meaning we've grown up caring for ourselves and, thinking that that's what matters. And then you start to see that when you do serve all those needs that only relate to you, it doesn't necessarily make you happier. So the happiness, the greater happiness, comes from realizing that your needs and others' needs are not separate. So serving others is serving self.
So what you're supposed to do is always think about what you need and not what you want. I don't know. Sometimes you want to make choices. You prefer something and not something else. Is that wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all. You go to the supermarket. I prefer vanilla yogurt over, I don't know what else, blueberry. That's not true. But you're making choices all the time based on personal preference, right?
Yeah.
So should I not? Should I just close my eyes and blueberry? Should I just close my eyes and just no? Of course. You're choosing personal preferences, but you see it for what it is. You see it for what it is. It's just a show. It's just a role. It's just a tool. That's what I'm saying. See the self as a surface means to doing the good you need to do in this world. It's the means, it's not the end. When we treat the self as the end, then we start to serve our needs at the expense of others, or our needs are so much more important. Because, hey, self-fulfillment, I want to be self-fulfilled, self-actualized. I want to be successful. So that means seeing myself as the center, basically. Does that mean, what's the alternative? Not seeing the self at all? No. It's getting out of this duality of self and other and saying, okay, we're all just sort of playing this role. You have a role, okay? You have a self. Is your self ultimate? Is it real? Well, it's changing, so it's not ultimate and it's not real. So what really matters? First, we start asking the question, who am I and what really matters in my life? Those are just some basic questions that when we start to ask them, then it creates some clarity. Okay? The answer is not, something that is final and that you'll suddenly say, oh yeah, I found the answer. No.
Yeah.
But the question can be a type of a path. It's what really matters today? What should I be doing? Where should I be placing my attention and my concern? Okay? What sort of choices should I make? And are these choices just related to me, or are they, coming out of, say, some deeper or perhaps bigger intentions? If we're just serving ourselves, happiness is less likely. Does that mean you don't serve yourself? Well, that's a trap. That's saying it's either, black or white, self or non-self. No. How can self just be part of this how can self be a tool that I treat well in order to do good? That's basically it. It's like any tool. You know, if I have a car and it has to get me to this meditation group, but I don't take care of the car, then in the end I'm not going to get here, right? So if yourself is like your vehicle that you take care of, you know, in order to get you where you need to go. The question you want to ask yourself is, where do you need to go?
And what's the answer?
Well, it's your question, right? I mean, that's your question. The question is more important than the answer. Right now, the question, because if you have an answer, first of all, if I give you an answer, then it's my answer, not your answer. And if you give me an answer, then it only relates to right now, but tomorrow morning it won't seem true.
Yeah.
So, just like, keep the question in mind and see what happens. Who am I and what really matters?
I think, Daniel, the teaching does give some principles which are not, I hope, are not changing to tomorrow morning. Maybe the answer is different because we're in different situation, but what is wholesome or what is unwholesome, what is beneficial for us and others, it's some principles that the teaching are giving us for life, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean the intentions are all there. Cease harm, do good, keep your mind clear. You know, it's real basic, but we want even those intentions to be personal and not just a sort of like a general a mantra. Because the mantra, we can miss it. How do we make the teachings personal? That's, I think, one of our biggest challenges, is how to take the great way and make it my way, right? How do I take this path and make it my path? And that is the essential challenge for us. Like, you can be really convinced by the teachings, and they're very persuasive, because it's all good, you know? I mean, come on.
It's all suffering.
It's all suffering, and it's all the end of suffering.
Yeah.
So how can you argue with that? You can't. You can't. And if there is something that you disagree with, then the Buddha himself says, okay, well then, like, leave it alone. You know? I mean, it's not all or nothing. It's like, okay, you know what, rebirth I don't know what to do with, so, okay, put it to the side, right? Meditation, well, okay, I'll try it out. Maybe this technique, maybe that technique. Experiment. Because the point is, it's yours. You have to make it yours. Yours? Who am I? I thought the whole question is, who am I? Yeah, meaning your vehicle, okay? Your temporary self, right? Your temporary self. Your life is short, okay? How much time do we want to waste thinking about unnecessary things? Okay? We've wasted enough already. I'll just speak for myself. I've wasted enough already. And so I realize then that the middle way is not denying the self, but it's not cherishing the self separate from others. It's not serving the self. What's the middle way between serving and denying? It's practice. It's practice. Okay? It's practicing with myself. It's devoting myself to something greater than just my own wants. Okay? And that is within each of us to make a decision, a commitment. Right? And then walk it. You know, walk it at your pace, in your direction, on your street, okay, in your job, in your skin, okay, in your mind. Everyone has their own things to deal with, your own things to be aware of. But the practice is here, and you're here. That means you pretty much have everything you need. You know, it becomes complicated when we start to deliberate, meaning we're thinking hard about, Jesus, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? And you probably all read The Little Prince, and he says, like, the secret is, if you want to see correctly, you have to see with the heart. With the heart, you see rightly. Like, it's with the heart. And there's one other line, though, that's not quoted as much. The line was, all grown-ups were once children, but very few remember that. Okay?
The Little Prince.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, we have seeing with the heart, and then remembering that you're a child. Now, those things are really good for mindfulness practice. How? In Eastern teachings, heart is, in Sanskrit and Pali, chitta, okay? Like a bodhicitta is enlightened mind is called, but mind and heart are one term. Heart-mind. Heart-mind. Okay? So when we're talking about practicing in the mind, enlightened mind, we're not thinking about having all these wonderful thoughts. You could be thinking judgment and anger and everything and still have chitta, have bodhicitta, have enlightened mind. Okay? Why? Because you see all of that karma happening in your head and you say, big deal. Like, big deal. Just keep on moving. That's all. Keep on moving. I'm not going to stop you and say, me, emergency problem, or me, how wonderful. Okay? Let it happen and don't stop it. Don't stop it. Because when you stop it, you're starting to say, okay, well, this is me. That's going to disappoint you, I promise. Even if it's a good me, it'll disappoint you. Because it's hard to live up to a good me. So, chitta, heart-mind, is seeing from a deeper place, the place of interconnection, right? The place of you're part of it all, and it's all part of you. The place of the mirror, even if it's a black mirror. Okay, that's chitta. Chitta, mind, seeing with the heart, is seeing from that place of acceptance, that place of, okay, you're here, I'm here, we're sharing this reality. Right? Pretty difficult, isn't it? That's chitta. Compassionate mind. Suzuki Roshi also said our zazen is meditation, should be a warm zazen. He said, warm zazen, okay? Sometimes you're freezing cold, sometimes you're really hot when you sit here. Depends what season it is. Okay, but warm zazen means zazen from the heart, not from the mind. You're practicing mindfulness, we think is about mind. It's actually heartfulness. That's another definition of mindfulness. It's this heartfulness. It's seeing the world from a place of love and compassion. Can you see the connection and not just the separation? Okay, that's mindfulness. Remember that you're connected, even when you feel you're not. So that's seeing with heart. And then the other thing he said, like all grown-ups were children, very few remember that. The other term we have in Zen very often we use is called beginner's mind. Okay, beginner's mind is saying like, hey, I'm going to look at you, I'm going to look at me, I'm going to look at this reality as if I'm seeing it for the first time. As if. Now I'm aware I have a lot of baggage. I'm aware of the baggage. I'm aware of my concepts that filter reality. I'm aware of that. But I still can come back to, okay, this moment is unique. I'm aware of it and I can suspend it. Suspending judgment, we say. To suspend judgment is not to forget that you have the judgment. is to say, it's not going to define my reality right now. I know you're there, okay? Like I know myself and all my need, wants and desires, but hey, they're not going to define the way I relate. That's suspending judgment. So, that's remembering that you're a child. Remembering that sometimes you can have an experience, and yeah, you're going to take it as unique. So you know what? The truth is, it is. It is unique. So, remember you're a child, remember you are. And see with the heart and not just the mind. And if that's our practice, that's a good start. That's a really good start. Just to finish, there is a Sri Lankan monk who wrote this great book that I always refer to and recommend to people. It's called Mindfulness in Plain English. Bhante Gunanatara. He was a Sri Lankan monk. Really clear description of mindfulness. And he has these definitions of mindfulness. And one of them, the first definition he gives, is it's being 100% honest with yourself. Well, isn't that scary? Imagine that, you just want to close the book after that. Right? But don't. Keep reading. Mindfulness is being 100% honest with yourself. And you know you can, because yourself is not a big deal. Yourself doesn't define you. Okay? Yourself comes and goes. Yourself is always changing. You can be 100% honest because, hey, whether it's deep pain, deep anger, deep anxiety, deep sadness, deep joy, deep attachment, whatever it is, okay? Anicca, it changes. It passes. So you can be 100% honest because nothing you experience is going to define you. It doesn't stay. As soon as you see it, it moves. So be honest. Just be honest. See with the heart. Remember you're a child and be 100% honest. At some point, children, if you really want to be a child, you know that children don't know how to lie until about the age of 4 or 5. Like it's just not in their cognitive possibilities. Okay? You can ask them anything. Did you just break that glass? Yes. I mean, they won't, it's just not, they don't, and they also cannot imagine that you would not tell them the truth. Right? So up until, I don't know what age it is, I forget already. And then the first lie is like, did you just, you know, where did you get that from? From me. You know, where do they learn it? Black Mirror. So being a child, remembering that you're a child is also remembering how to be honest. That you have nothing to lose. So you admit it. You broke the glass, you hurt somebody, you hurt yourself. You admit it. And you know what? As soon as you do, it's over. As soon as you do, it's over. Because it's already past. So that's the gift of remembering your childhood, being honest, and seeing with the heart. Good luck.